Megan Rapinoe.
The Queen.
Don't know why I just sung her name. So, I'm winning. Sometimes, do you know what? Sometimes, because I don't sleep very well, I honestly sometimes don't know what's going on in my head. It's just like, it's like little elves just going, woo. Anyway. Welcome to That's the Tea. I'm Nicole Holiday and we have three very special guests today. We have presenter Abbie McCarthy. Hello.
Hello, you okay?
Hello, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, that's really sweet.
I'm so polite, aren't I?
I think you're the first person that has thanked us, Abbie.
Look at that. My mum will be pleased.
No pressure. Debra Nelson from Football Beyond Borders. How thankful are you to be here today?
I'm joking, very thankful.
And Kait, Borsay, a sport broadcaster and also co-founder of the Offside podcast.
It's great to be here and I'm 100% happy to be here.
We're all just so grateful.
No shame. We actually spoke about your podcast on last week's episode.
Did. Thank
I feel like it was really weird because I'm like, oh, and now you're here.
By a puff of magic.
Yeah, here we go. But great news. So you guys, you announced, for anyone who maybe didn't watch the show or doesn't know, they've been hiding under a rock, you guys announced that you couldn't carry on the WSL edition of the podcast because of a lack of sponsorship.
Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago we made that announcement and we were basically forced to, having gone the whole season without finding a sponsor, and it wasn't just like we suddenly went, right, that's it, give up. We'd been trying for months to try and secure sponsorship, and it was just like banging your head against a brick wall, and I think we got really frustrated because big brands were saying, we love what you do, we're 100% behind you, and on the back of the World Cup there was loads of buzz, of course, and then it just came to nothing. And so just financially it costs money to put on a show like that, to be able to professionally produce it. A bit like this, you know, it is a good show, it's professionally done, and you can't keep paying out for that amount of money, and we decided that we had to cancel it. But it just went complete 360 because within a couple of days it went a bit mad on Twitter, and we were so chuffed with the reaction. So many people backing us, which until you do that, you don't really know how many people are listening, who's kind of engaging. But yeah, it went massive, and within a couple of days, we had a couple of sponsorship offers actually, and we've taken up one of those with Football Manager.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's great.
Amazing news. But that's really interesting what you were saying about that you did have chats with other companies and they were interested. So why weren't any of them at the time? Because it's so great that Football Manager, shout out Football Manager, that they that they have sponsored you guys. Of course, that is amazing. But it's a shame that it had to take you saying that we can't do this anymore for you to get that money.
And there are loads of other people struggling, whether it's podcasts, whether it's anything else, struggling to make women's product or to put on events that can't just close it down like us and kind of make a big shout about it. It shouldn't have had to take that, no. And I think one thing that surprised us is it's just like, well, but like Emma Hayes said during the World Cup, when there was a famous brand that was like, you know, we are totally behind everything that sort of Chelsea does, and she says, well, if you're behind it, then you need to put your hand in your pocket, and that's a not very subtle way of saying you're either in or you're out. You can't just support us. If you're a big brand particularly, we weren't asking for a lot of money. You need to put your hand in your pocket and do the right thing here.
It needs to be an all year round thing, otherwise it's almost like jumping on the bandwagon a bit, isn't it? Kind of being like, oh, we're the brand that do this. It's got to be full support always, you know, from grassroots right up to professional.
Totally, yeah, totally, and grassroots is still missing out on a hell of a lot of funding because it's not that glamorous. And you're right, Abbie, people do tend to focus around the major tournaments, so there's a bit of interest ahead of the Olympics, there's a bit of interest, of course, next season leading up to the home Euros, which will garner huge interest, but you know, it's a bit like a dog is not just for Christmas, isn't it?
That's so it, yeah.
I know, it's completely true.
The idea was always like a worry for everyone involved in a women's game, like that how long is it going to carry on for? How long is this going to be a big thing? And I think even at a grassroots level, it's always scary because you've always got to think only 2 or 3 of those girls that in a team are going to actually make it to a higher level. So what about all the other players on that team? So it's like, where do they get the support and stuff like that?
I think you know, everyone involved in women's football is massively passionate about it, and I think we're just willing it on so much. And actually, you know, when you've got Barclays investing 10 million quid in the WSL, of course we get really excited by that. And when brands like Lucozade are backing it and Visa are backing players, of course we get excited. And it shouldn't just be about social responsibility. Of course we need to remember it is about growing the game. But I think, you know, women's football was banned for 50 years in this country. We've got a lot of catching up to do.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of women out there, and young girls too, Nicole, who are really engaged by this, and we don't want to lose them.
Must be thrilled.
Oh my God, we're so excited about it. We're
awesome.
just, you know, it's, I think Lindsay and I, who is the other co-founder of the Offside, we've been following women's football for 10 years. I mean, ever since the Euros in 2009, you know, we are not spring chickens. We love all the young engagement going on, but we were there when there was like a man and his dog at a game, or, you know, arriving at a World Cup and there were just a couple of newspapers there, and that was sometimes journalists who'd gone out because they were going to have a holiday on the back of it to try and make the financial side of it work. So we are so thrilled and so excited, and we've got a big up Muddy Knees Media, who produced the podcast, for kind of backing it and paying for it so far as well. And yeah, for us kind of slightly older people within the game, it's so interesting.
Stop it! Look at you!
I'll just get my walking stick over there. But no, because we've followed it for so long, I think it's even more just exciting and thrilling for us, definitely.
Yeah, I bet. Right, let's do a quick, this is where we do a quick recap of the weekend's WSL results. However, we all know Storm Kira, your little honey, kind of ruined it all.
You've got to respect the energy she had, you know.
She was absolutely
She came through.
savage. So me and Beth, who's our social producer, I'm like, hey, not that anyone
There she is.
who's watching the show will be able to see
back
Beth. We were actually meant to go to the North London derby, and the night before we were like, is it gonna happen? Do you think it's gonna be postponed? Is it gonna happen? And then obviously until the day, we were like, maybe. No, Kira took over. And it was just every fixture got postponed. The biggest, not the biggest shame, but the Merseyside derby, that is, that's a big shame. And they sold loads and loads of tickets. I think it was going to be 24,000 people were going to go. That's really frustrating. Do we think that they'll be able to play at Goodison Park again at some point, or is...
Yeah, you really like to think so, wouldn't you?
For real.
I hope so, yeah, and it's a case of fitting it in. I was hearing from Willie Kirk this week, the Everton ladies manager, and he was just saying, look, you have to make a call. If you put it on as a night game, you're going to miss all your younger supporters. And if you put it on at a time that then clashes with men's football, I mean, obviously you're going to have to bear in mind that it's at Goodison, so you have to be really, really careful with your timings. I think they really want to make it happen, and it would be a shame. I mean, Everton as a club will have lost thousands of, probably hundreds of thousands of pounds on this. So I think it would be a shame to make this commitment only for Storm Kira to have her way. To then not do it would be a real shame.
So we're going to do maybe a little bit of a prediction and see, you know, how much we get right or probably wrong.
Yeah, completely wrong. And then everyone can judge us.
And then in the comments, they'll be savage, and we love it. So first up, Chelsea versus Birmingham. So
Chelsea's taking the win. Chelsea's taking the win. Chelsea's taking the win.
Oh, you're a Chelsea fan as well! Yes, 2 Chelsea fans.
I was like, whoa, what are we doing?
Chelsea's taking the win.
Okay, why? Go on, take the floor.
Back
yourself, back your team.
I mean, second place. We're dominating the whole of WSL. I think I'm
not going to argue with
it's our time to shine now. Like, we've got all the players there, and we're just ready to smash it. And I think Birmingham. Birmingham. What can you say? It's Birmingham.
Well, that is tough on Birmingham, isn't it?
It's a big game.
It is tough, but yeah, Birmingham have had a really tough season.
Yeah.
They've got all these games in hand, so, you know, if you talk about the bottom of the table, they are down there, but maybe unnecessarily, who knows. But you've got no G probably, and you've got no Sam Kerr, because they're off doing Olympic qualifying.
Still, they've got such squad.
But there's so many. We've got so many superstars. It's like Beth England at the moment. It's just.
You're Chelsea as well.
Yeah, sorry.
I was like, where's the we in this?
You know, Beth England is just
amazing,
banging them in at the moment. So, you know, I think Chelsea are going to win big time. I'm saying 4-0.
So you're going to clamour on that goal difference again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're going to win the title.
Okay.
We are going for it. Well, Chelsea have a game in hand as well, actually.
Yeah.
So, Man City versus Bristol, that is quite literally the top versus the bottom.
Yeah, that could be quite a brutal beating, couldn't it? You know?
Yeah.
However,
all right, Kait, I like this.
It's the first game without Nick Cushing.
Yeah.
So the team are going to be feeling their way
yeah.
a little bit. Alan Mahan's the guy in charge, probably until the end of the season, we think. I wouldn't blame them for not going all out. I wouldn't blame them for being a little bit cagey. So I'm not going to dispute the win, but they're at the top of the table already. The places in the table probably won't change if everyone wins as we expect them to. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like, you know, a 3-1 or a 4-1, not like mega goals, because I think they'll just be finding their way.
Reading versus West Ham. That's going to be quite an interesting.
Yeah, because of course West Ham have got to come back from that 8-0 drubbing.
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
I felt bad though in the end. Like it was
You
savage.
do, because men's football, women's football, regardless, football's football, and when a team are getting slaughtered like that. It's hard. It is hard to watch.
It kind of gets uncomfortable. Like as a fan, you're still like, oh, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
want to celebrate
stop,
too much.
stop.
Yeah, but I think because they lost so badly, they're then going to play, you know, quite defensively, quite cautiously. So it'd be interesting to see how this game goes.
Does it knock your confidence? That takes a lot of mental strength to come back from that defeat.
Something that bad.
It's interesting because Matt Beard, the West Ham coach, said after the game, he basically laid it at the feet of the players.
He did,
and kind of it's now for those players to respond. Gilly Flaherty has spoken this week about loads of different things, mental health, but she's also spoken to us about the game as well, and she's just like, look, it's up to us to try and put this right. I don't think that Matt Beard's seriously thinking about leaving, but he's put the emphasis on the players. Do you remember what happened the last time these two sides played? So Reading were 2-0 down,
it was quite close.
and then they came back to win it 3-2.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that will be. I mean, West Ham were absolutely gutted at the end of that. So that will be playing on their minds as well.
Right, Spurs versus Everton. Who are we backing for that?
This is a tough one.
Yeah, I think that I don't know actually.
Ooh.
Spurs are definitely playing like well, aren't they? Considering, you know, first season in the WSL, but maybe a draw. Maybe Everton's first draw of the season.
Okay,
I'm going to say 1-1. 1-1.
All right.
Okay, we're both
I like
the same.
very precise. Yeah, why not? Brighton, Man United next. Man United have been playing very well. They're you know, they're looking good in the table as well.
Yeah, and they had that handball decision go against them, which
that was everyone.
I'm still not over that. But I'll never will be. It's so ridiculous.
Hashtag not a handball. Look, Casey Stonewall will be raring to go. They won't like the fact that they've had a postponement. They'll want to get straight back out there to it. Brighton, though, have come into a bit of form since the beginning of the year. It was sort of really disastrous, the first bit of the season for them, and Hope Powell came on the show and she was just like, we were depressed by the end of it. We were like, okay, then Hope, thanks. But they have stepped up, and so therefore tricky, but I think Man U have got too much up front. Lauren James.
Yeah, she's so
incredible.
So young. Little baby. I'm back in Man United.
A scoring machine, baby.
I know, it's terrifying, isn't it? Maybe I can channel my inner Lauren James tonight when I start playing football for the first time. We'll get on to that later. And then on Thursday we have Liverpool versus Arsenal. Arsenal fan over here. In case you didn't realise.
So subtle.
Almost got my shirt out. That'd be really creepy because I'm not wearing one on here. So we had a couple of the players on the show last week. I don't know if you saw the episode, Lisa and Viv. But you would back Arsenal. Liverpool are massively struggling this season.
They are, but they're doing a bit better recently.
Okay.
I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm a Liverpool men's fan, so I therefore, you know,
Align yourself.
I don't necessarily have a women's team, but I do have a bit of a soft spot for Liverpool, and I do think the club should be backing them more. All the situation with the pitch is just ridiculous. In fact, this game's played at the Diva Stadium at Chester's ground because I don't think they'll use Prenton Park again. So they're at a new stadium, which, by the way, is half in England and half in Wales. I love that fact. If you go to Chester Stadium,
cool.
That may or may not have been coming up in our quiz.
Oh my God!
Well, okay, you get a point.
Right, okay, I now know that one. Good.
Scrap that. Well, there's a bit of a twist to it, actually, but anyway. Look, Arsenal are going to win this game, but it doesn't mean that Liverpool are going to get thrashed.
We had Viv Mead Mar on the show last week, and we were talking about how many goals she scored, because obviously she scored a lot of goals. However, she's not been scoring recently.
No.
Do we back her to score in this fixture? Yes, I do, Viv.
I reckon. I mean, she's gone 4 without scoring. I don't think she's ever gone 5 without scoring. The whole hashtag feed the Viv, I think which I love. It's my favourite thing. I think her teammates will be making sure that they hashtag feed the Viv because. Yes, she will score. But then, hang on a minute. The only thing I'm going to caveat that with is Liverpool don't concede many goals.
No, yeah, that's true.
They're like in, ones and twos only. But anyway, yeah, I think if Arsenal are to get a goal, and I'm sure that they're going to win this, yes, it has to be Viv. Surely it has to be.
It has to be.
It has to be.
She's going to get a couple at least.
Right, we need to talk about the dreaded relegation. Because, yeah, thank you so much. That's kind of what I was hoping
Sound effects by Debra.
Very good.
Because it's going to be a tough couple of months now at the bottom of the table with some teams fighting it out. But what's interesting is obviously where the WSL is now fully professional, how do you think that that will impact a team that does get relegated?
I think you'd have to ask the club about that. They might do 3/4 time or something. I mean, my ultimate prediction is that clubs in the Championship will become full-time sooner rather than later, and it depends a lot on investment. But you've got clubs like Aston Villa, top of the Championship, who are, by basically hiring people like Eni Aluko, they have the intent of coming up to the WSL, right? So their attitude is like a full-time team. Manchester United did this last season. They were basically a full-time professional team, weren't they? And that's why they blitzed the league and then they came through. It was easy for Tottenham to do it as well because it was just a case of increasing hours.
Money.
It is, but I think depends who goes down. I mean, if Liverpool go down, I think the whole club need to address what's going on there. If Birmingham go down, look, Birmingham are historically such a big name in women's football. They've won FA Cups. They were the home of Ellen White, Lucy Stanhope. You've got loads of all these brilliant players there. So I don't think they will go part-time. They might lose a little bit of hours, but I think that the emphasis should be on improving rather than on sort of reducing.
I know, but that's the thing though, is like, it's this weird thing that it's so great, obviously, that the WSL is now professional, but it is that impact. Like, a lot of players would have had to have left part-time jobs and stuff like that to become full-time professional players. And then if that then changes, I think as a player, it would be very hard. And also they might not know where they stand and what their club would do if that happens. Like you said, with Liverpool, would they really carry on investing?
I would have thought so, because you can't, I think as a major club, you can't not invest.
You would think so.
It just looks ridiculous. It was ridiculous how long it took Manchester United to come back into it again. I think when you speak to most players, and this is perhaps not the likes of Viv Mead Mar, Sam Kerr, etc., who can probably get a job anywhere in the women's football world, when you speak to other players, they have been keeping a side hustle going. So they're either studying, or they coach, or they do sports sessions, or maybe they have another career alongside it. So I think you'll find that kind of, for example, a lot of players at Bristol, it won't just be their only thing. They'll have other stuff going on that they then may have to rely on a bit more heavily if they do go part-time.
That's such a shame, though. Like, it's actually
but this
mad
is what,
for the
this
top
is what
tier.
happens. Yeah. But if you get relegated to the Championship and the Championship isn't yet fully professional, then that's what's going to happen.
You're right. Let's talk about some stuff that's going on off of the pitch. So something that's been discussed a lot in the past week, and rightly so, Gilly Flaherty came out obviously and spoke about her struggles with mental health, and I know I've read and listened to her speaking about it quite a lot this week, and she said she almost didn't initially, and she kind of cancelled, I think, the interview, or didn't want to do it initially, and then agreed to it, which I think it's amazing that she's spoken out about it, and spoken out about it so well, and it's very brave. Do you think that more needs to be done to help players feel like they can talk about it, to support them as well? Because it still is a taboo subject, isn't it? You know, it's not something that is spoken about a great deal at all.
I think there's this pressure, isn't there, if you're a sports person, to be seen as like really strong and really focused and really in the zone, and they never want to show any weakness. Not that mental health is weakness, but they get a little bit scared to kind of show that vulnerable human side. But it's happening a little bit, you know, in the men's game. We've had like Danny Rose talking about his mental health issues, Jesse Lingard around everything that was happening with his mum as well. So I feel like Gilly's been so brave. You know, someone has to go first, don't they? And she's been the first woman. Hopefully lots more people feel empowered to start that conversation.
And I know, Debra, you must have seen this as well. You know, mental health and sport goes hand in hand in sort of terms of sport is a great way of overcoming some mental health issues. It's great for body empowerment, for younger kids who might be struggling, who are struggling with, you know, visions of what's on social media and what kind of real life is like. You know, sport activity, football's really, really good for you. And it's important that as we develop these role models like Gilly, that they come out and say, actually, I've not been okay 100% of the time.
I think it's really important, like you said, for someone to start the conversation. We had the Heads Up campaign where like the players in the men's game were speaking out, but it's time for like these women who are playing in the WSL to start speaking out, because like you said, there's young girls that are aspiring to come up through academies and become the next Jill and the next Nikita Paris, but they're also going to go through the exact same struggles of the pressure of an academy and trying to maintain and balance the football and life and schoolwork. And it's like, we need to start having those conversations so they feel comfortable.
Yeah, there needs to be just like a bit of a shift, doesn't there? Because it's like if a player gets injured, it's big news, you know, all the physios are there helping them and stuff. It's almost like they need to be as on hand and kind of involved if someone is struggling with their mental health and feeling a bit fragile. But it's definitely changing, isn't it?
I guess it's because, though, that's the thing, because when it's a physical injury, you can see it, and I guess players can't really hide from it either. But when it's, and I think it's a lot easier for people to say, ow, I've hurt my arm, or I've, you know, done this. But when it's a mental health problem or anything like that, or anxiety, anything that you're struggling with mentally, I think it's a lot harder to talk about.
I think for me, it's like, these players are all classed as brands. Like they go out onto social media and they've got to portray this certain persona, and it's like, it's hard for them to come out and be like, I am actually struggling, because they think, oh, I'm not going to be viewed in the same light, or they're going to get grilled in the comments on an Instagram post. And I think it's really important for people outside of the game to just encourage this kind of conversation and just make sure that they're flooded with positivity, because it is a hard thing to come out with, and it's like you're risking tainting your persona or your like ideal image, and it's hard.
And also I think it's great to have these conversations and for people to speak more openly about it, because it's something that also I think actually everyone at some point in their life will probably go through themselves, or a family member or a close friend or whatever, so it will impact everyone at some point. But we just want to say thank you and massive well done to Gilly and anyone else who is having these conversations, speaking about it openly, because you are doing a world of good, I think it's fair to say. Right, Debra.
Yes.
Hey girl. We are. I want to chat to you about Football Beyond Borders, because some people watching might not know what you guys actually do. So do you want to fill them in?
Yeah, so Football Beyond Borders is an education charity that goes into schools and works with young people that are often described as disengaged or not having a good time at school, and they help to build positive relationships with teachers and the young person, and just kind of give them opportunities to flourish in the system.
So how did you get involved with them? Because
so it started 5 years ago when I was 13, and I was one of those young people.
Okay.
And so I used to take part in the sessions. I used to be 13 and just go into this session, doing an inside classroom session where I was learning about the game and how to be my best self, and then going out and playing football for an hour with my friends and coaches that were really cool.
How important do you think it was for you then, at that period of time?
I think within the system of school, it can always be like a daunting time, and it's like you've got to get through these 5 years and just try and come out with these grades that will allow you to go into the next chapter of your life, and it can often be really, really stressful. So I think having this time and place to just be free and forget about all of like the worries of school, but still being in school, it was like, okay, this place is quite cool. I can just relax, I can breathe. And also it just helps with like your relationships with teachers and your peers as well.
And now you work for them.
Yeah.
Which is cool. You know. That's really cool.
It's been a long journey.
Yeah, what's that transition been like for you?
It was always something that I wanted to do because I reaped the benefits of being a part of the program. So it was like, okay, now how can I give back? How can I help young girls that were in a similar position to me? And how can I provide them with opportunities? So it was always something that I always wanted to do. Yeah.
And am I right in saying that the annual showcase is tomorrow night?
Tomorrow,
why are you so excited about that? And
so,
can I come?
I mean, the tickets are all sold out.
Oh, so, what? You can't sort us out?
I mean,
it's outrageous.
Possibly.
Okay.
But yeah, the biggest night of the FBB calendar is every year we have an annual showcase where the young people basically take the stage and they take the mic. And it's their night to basically,
awesome.
It's their time to basically just showcase all the hard work that they've been doing throughout the academic year. So yeah, we're gonna have 2 workshops that are based on like be your best self and what makes a man, and then also just a showcase after where we talk about poetry, we do everything. It's just a performance, but yeah, it's gonna.
You seem really excited about it.
It's gonna be so sick. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, we are going to have a little women's football quiz.
Ooh.
I like the dance. Okay, can I have the ball, please? That was aggressive. Okay, we're gonna have words. Right, we've moved the glasses because I don't want anyone, you know, killing someone with water. Right, we'll put that there. Okay, so I will ask a question.
Yeah.
If you think you know the answer, grab the ball as quickly as possible, and then you can try and answer it. Okay, question 1. How many players that play for Chelsea scored at the 2019 Women's World Cup?
Oh, for God's sake.
No, I wanted to be the first
Do you know what? I'm just going to guess, and then if it's wrong, can we pass it on?
Sure.
Go for it.
I'm going to guess at 6.
No, not quite.
I've got
4.
Yeah.
Oh, I just say it.
Do you want to take a maybe for an extra point? I don't know. Let's go
I
right.
say
Yeah, who are they?
You can do that.
Erin Cuthbert, Maren Mjelde.
No.
Sam Kerr?
Sam Kerr.
Sam Kerr counts in this. Okay.
Yeah.
And Jonna Anderson.
Franco.
Guro Wrighton?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well,
I should just worked it out.
Hang on, this is
y'all ain't getting points for that, but Debra can have a point. Right. But I like the group effort. Right. Question 2. USA beat Canada 3-0 to win the CONCACAF. Also, that is the I hate saying that. That is the strangest thing to say.
It is
right?
the worst because it sounds like conkers. It makes no sense.
Come here one more time.
No. Trophy. And qualify for the Olympics this week. Name any of the 3 goal scorers.
Kristen Press.
No.
Oh my God! Which game?
Canada.
Oh, in the Canada game.
Thank you, Debra. Just like think of the I don't know if I should be helping you here. Just to go on.
Megan.
Yeah. Hey.
Who else scored?
Lynn Williams.
Okay.
And Lindsay Horan. And Megan Rapinoe.
The Queen.
Don't know why I just sung her name. Debra's come here winning. Sometimes, do you know what? Sometimes, because I don't sleep very well, I honestly sometimes don't know what's going on in my head. It's just like, it's like little elves just going, ooh. Anyway, question 3. Barcelona won their first Supercopa Femenina on Sunday against Real Sociedad. How do you like all the accents that I tried to do?
I was in tech.
Like B-Tech Spanish. How many goals did they score in the game? Barcelona.
Oh God, I have no idea. I know that Real Sociedad really complained afterwards, so it was a big win, wasn't it?
It's quite a big one.
8.
No, but kind of close. Anyone want to take it?
9.
I know. Are we doing this? All right, Kate, you might as well.
7?
No.
Are we going higher?
You were going higher.
Oh my gosh.
12.
Oh my God, guys, it was 10.
Let's guess every other number before we get there.
Between 0 and 100. It was 10. Yeah, it was 10.
I knew it was a lot, but I didn't know the exact number.
It's quite mad. Do you know what? We're only on question 3 and I don't know what the scores are. Oh well!
I think I'm winning.
Yeah, okay, I know you're winning.
You know, you've been keeping track.
I think it's 2-0, right? Anyway, question 4. Who has kept the most clean sheets so far in the WSL this season?
Does she belong to a big team?
Yes.
Okay, shall I guess that Ellie Roebuck?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey. Do you know what you could have technically kind of got that bit? Not.
Shared half each.
And you didn't put your hands on the ball, so
0.5 points.
No! It's done now. Okay, and the last one. Oh wait, this was one that I think.
England and Wales.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was about the Diva Stadium. What is the unique thing about the ground?
Yeah. However, the pitch is.
Are we trying to get an extra point?
Yeah,
Bonus
I'm
point.
totally beating this on my knowledge of the Diva. The pitch, I think this is right, is in England. It's the stand, or the stand and a tiny bit of the pitch, which is in Wales. So the pitch is mostly in England.
Yeah, Debra.
But it's in England and Wales, that's the question.
I think, are we going to VAR? Is that what's happening?
What is going on? Does anybody know?
Well, Debra wins. Yay! Woo! Okay, now tonight I am actually playing my first game with Copper 90 Women's Football Club. I think that's what we call it. We don't really have a name. I said Nicole FC. They said that's such a great name, but we don't know. We don't know if it will really work. So I can't really play football. I haven't played since school, and they are all apparently really good. I'm thinking, does anyone have any tips or tricks or any little thing I can do? Maybe
ninja moves.
Yeah. Basically, I want to.
I'd recommend ninja moves.
Right.
I never played football at school. I learned how to play basically as a journalist writing an article about whether you could learn how to play football, and my version of football is just running around with the ball going ooh like this.
That's fine.
So that's one tip.
Thank you.
The other thing that I'd say to you,
That is a good
as you know, a mum, I've attended a lot of children's football games, and one sort of important part of your armoury might be your voice and your broadcasting abilities. Because if you haven't got the skills with your feet, just shout. So shout, and if you can, intimidate. So like pull some wacko faces. Yeah.
Right, that's so gonna crop that. Why do I do this?
Or simulate injury. Because I'd imagine as a performer, you'd be quite good at you know, and just sort of make them stand back. And when they stand back because they think they've hurt you,
get the ball.
Take the ball and off you go.
Okay, all right. So hurl abuse at the other team or my teammates. Who am I shouting at? Everyone.
Anyone that will listen.
I think everyone, but you might want to let your teammates know that you're quite vocal before you start the game.
If I do manage to score,
When you manage to score.
Oh, good.
You've got to believe, you see. It's about the mentality.
You know what? Yeah, that is the first key point. When I manage to score, what should I do for my celebration?
Knee slide.
Knee slide.
Oh, I think as extra as possible.
So wrong, though.
Got to go like super extra. My favourite goal celebration ever is when Peter Crouch used to do the robot. That was amazing. I think you could do that, but maybe switch it up a bit. The Ellen White. I mean, just get inspiration from other players.
I think we should call it a day. That is it from us. Before we go though, let everyone at home know how they can follow you on social media.
Am I going first? I am at Abbie Mac on Twitter and Instagram.
Abbie Mac.
At Kait Borsay, but it's Kait, just to be difficult, Borsay. Yeah, weird.
Nice. Debra cannot remember.
No, I was trying to see how she spelled it. No, I'm going to shout everyone follow Football Beyond Borders.
Yes.
That's where it all started, so yeah. Football Beyond Borders on everything.
Oh,
on brand, I like it.
Love it. Okay, thank you guys so much.
Thank you for
It's
having
been really
us.
fun.
It's been great.
Yeah. All right, Debra, sitting there silent.
It's been fine.
Yes.
I'm over it. That is it from us for now. You guys can get in touch. You can tweet us at Copper90. You can join the Facebook group Football is Football and subscribe to Copper90 Football. Until next time, that's a tea.